Yeah, Zoom is working for me this time. I think we finally got that bug worked out. All right, good morning, traders. Good morning, real life trading community members. Good morning, anybody following us on this YouTube live stream. Happy Friday. Hope everyone is having a great morning so far. All right, let's take a look at the broader market. So interesting day yesterday. If you look here, so here's the S&P, here's the NASDAQ down here, right? We've had a very good week, strong push on both of these markets, looking very strong this week. At times, I mean, those of us who were trading and watching and looking for some type of short on a couple of these days when we were expecting, it's like, okay, everything's looking really heavy, it's got to pull back, and then it just wasn't. It just kept going up. Anyway, so very strong week, really good push. The question is, what will we do today? And just looking at this in general, after such a strong push, you would expect that the market is going to take a breath, right? And is that going to happen today? Is it going to happen next week? But Fridays are usually typically, especially during the summer, usually a good day for the market to kind of slow down and catch its breath. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen today. On the S&P here, right? So I've got this this overhead. This is resistance here, right? So we've got some overhead resistance here and some here. So we could very well maybe just trade up into this level, break it a little bit, come back down. Might even just trade up to yesterday's highs and come back. I mean, we'll see, but yeah, and Tony's saying could be an inside day the rest of the day. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the market could just pause here and just go sideways and just do nothing. But so same look over here, right? So on the Qs here, or NASDAQ, same thing. We're coming up into an area of resistance. If we break through that, we do have this 100 on the daily coming down here. That's so it's a little closer down on the NASDAQ than it is on the S&P. But if you look over here in the 5 minute, right? So this is the 5 minute chart of both. 5 minute here, 5 minute here. We could very possibly just come up here, double top, right? And again, this is a 5 minute chart. It's a lower time frame, but we could look at this on a higher time frame. But we could very well just come up here, double top, and then pull back and chop around. If we look at the SPY, so nice move here. So SPY, good close. So this is the 50 here. So we've got a nice push above the 50. Just going to adjust a couple of these lines here, just roughly. So this is the high and the low here. Again, I had this overhead area of overhead resistance right here, which we closed above. Now I want to look at this. What's interesting, so it's not exactly a shaped top. I can see a little bit of a nub above that, but the high there is 398.84. The close 398.79. That's pretty close. I mean, that's hey Rock, good morning. That's a lot of buying right into the close of the market. So certainly on shaved top, now again, this isn't technically a true shaved top candle, but it's pretty close. I mean, we're worth pennies, and it's a $400 price tag, right? So pretty close to it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back here, right? So when I see shaved top candles, I often expect to have a retracement and then look to buy that dip, or possibly see it trade up and then look for a place to short it and then take it back down to the level where I think it could retrace. And it could come back down into the high of this candle here, right? So I always look for somewhere between around a 30% retracement. You can throw fibs on it and look for a fib level on that. The Qs here, just adjust our lines a little bit. Give me a second. So same thing on the Qs, right? So on the Qs, similar candle here. If we zoom in a little bit, right? tiny bit of a nub. So the high 307.44 and the close 307.38. I mean, we're talking pennies, right? So again, wouldn't be shocking to me to see this trade up, maybe trade up initially, and then pull back, or just pull back right away, right? But I would be expecting some type of retracement. Could come down again. I always look for like around a 30% retracement. If we, look at this candle over here, that probably would be around that area that I would be looking for a buying opportunity. So that's about a 30%. I mean, we could throw fibs on there too and see, but that looks to me about 30%, just doing an eyeball test. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna, my door is open. I'm just gonna close my. Okay. So broader markets, again, we'll see, but my expectation is maybe we trade a little bit higher and then we pull back, or we just pull back just initially, maybe a slight push up. Tony says, I thought a shaved top candle meant no selling, thus we would continue bullish. Tony, so yes, I mean the sentiment of that candle is that there was buying right up until the close, right? So yeah, there wasn't selling, there was buying right up until that. But then you could expect some profit taking today. And just if you back trade shaved top candles, probably 90% of the time, you're going to see that they pull back the next day, right? So there could be profit taking today, especially on a Friday, right? So Friday going to the weekend, everyone wants to be profitable. Nobody wants to end the weekend on a down note. So let me pull up a different chart. All right, so let me change my share, sorry. Okay, so we'll come back to Roku here, which was interesting because I was starting to look through, we're gonna go through all of our standard tickers that we look at for the 10 EMA strategy, but Roku is an interesting bearish gap and go today, looks like. And not sure, I didn't see any I'm not sure what the catalyst was on this, but we do have a gap down, but we'll come back to it. I was hey Hector, I was just going through and looking for other tickers, specifically the anything used for a wild card. All right, so let's take a look at NVIDIA. All right, so NVIDIA, again, look at same thing as like the market. Look at this push, right? That's a very strong push. And if I look at NVIDIA, the way I'm interpreting this, I'm thinking if I'm doing a wave count, I've got a 1, a 2, 3. So I would say that we're in wave 3. We have some bigger candles, we have big volume, and then we're coming into some overhead resistance. So this red line here is, I just dropped that in there just based on the daily chart. We do have this jagged line here is the weekly 100, which is overhead. So again, I wouldn't be surprised to see this come back down here to do a 1, 2, 3, and then do its 4 before it makes its 5th move, maybe next week. We are currently trading. Here's the pre-market action. Okay, so we're currently trading within yesterday's range. Move this up based on that high from the post-market yesterday. So anyway, so we're right now trading within yesterday's range. So we'd have to wait for to trade this. We're gonna have to wait for it's either got to gap above yesterday's close, which is pretty near the high, or it's got a gap above. So we'll be patient. We'll watch it. So Kyle, one thing to note about that, right? So so normally when you see a hammer, right, you're thinking a hammer down near the bottom, right? I'm looking for, like, if I'm going to play a hammer candle, I'm going to be looking for some type of a hammer near the lows, right? After it's gotten beat up, and then it throws in a nice hammer down below, and there's the trap, and then it runs bullish. Now, this could actually be a bearish indication, right? So that candle is what's referred to as a hanging man. And of course, if you just take the name of the hammer, I mean, the candle there, a hanging man, it's not a good end, right? So that could be an indication of getting ready to pull back, right? So yes, it is a hammer, but now it's at the top of a very strong move. And so that hanging man could easily indicate time for a pullback, right? And also just the fact that we do have a 1, 2, 3, right? And so possibly, the 4 could start today and just start, the 4 could be, choppy, it can pull back, it could go sideways. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with NVIDIA, Tesla. All right, so Tesla. So right now, Tesla is trading above yesterday's range. It's pushed up nicely. So that gap, right? I mean, it's a beautiful, I mean, look at that gap, strong candle. We do have, just to be aware. So right now, if I zoom in here a little bit, okay, you do see this is the daily 100, okay, right overhead. This orange line, if you correlate to this orange line over here, if I move that up a little bit now that it's gone up a little bit. So that orange line is the pre-market high, and it is right where that this daily 100 is. So the question is it going to open above that and hold, or is it just going to peak above it, just go above it just a little bit and then pull back? Again, we won't know, but right now, if Tesla holds in this area right now, it would be in play right when the market opens for the 10 EMA strategy. Now, looking at the bigger picture here, we do have this gap over here to fill, right? So if it were to fill this gap, that next target area would be, this is the 50 on the weekly. So we could drop a line in here, right? So when I do this on the weekly, I always make the width of the line thicker, color code it. So when I go over here and I look at my intraday chart, I see that thicker line here. Now I know that's the weekly 50 that's overhead. And again, today is, I didn't mention this before, but today is a beginner Friday, right? So this is where we do slow things down. We spend more time focusing on, nuts and bolts of trading, beginner, things trying to help and answer questions for anybody who's newer to trading or a brand new trader, developing trader, whatever it may be. So if you are with us here in the RLT community and you are new to trading, or you're struggling, ask questions. This is your time. So we will be trading today, but also this day is dedicated to you. So we want to be able to answer as many questions as we can, help you out. Just on a side note, I'm going to mention right now that the last couple of days I've been seeing some messages in Slack. I'm not going to reveal any names, but people talking about losses, taking bigger losses than they should, being frustrated because they're not following their plan. Like, the key to trading here is consistency. And again, anybody who was in my my workshop the other day on how to become a consistently profitable trader, there's a couple of you who I don't think were there, because based on the posts I saw, you need to be consistent, and you have to have, if you're not trading with a plan, and I'm talking to everybody, but mainly the new traders. If you are not, if right now, if you're sitting at your desk and you do not have a trading plan printed out and sitting right next to you, you should not trade today. You should shut it down. Don't trade the markets. Sit down and focus on creating a plan, okay? Do not trade, because there's no reason to lose in a single day. If you again, also, if you participated in the workshop on building a trading plan, if you didn't do that, go back and watch it right now. Don't trade today. Just focus on putting together a comprehensive trading plan. And most importantly, I mean, there's many important things you have to have in your plan, but you need to have loss limits, okay? So for those of you who are posting that or acknowledging that you lost more than 2R in a day, that should never happen. You should always have loss limits, rules based on your loss limits. And if you hit that amount, you shut it down, you stop trading. Okay, I'm going to stop preaching for a moment. But again, if you do not have a trading plan with you sitting on your desk right now because it's not created, stop trading today. Don't trade. Work on your plan. If you do have a plan and it's not printed out and sitting next to you, go print it out right now and put it on your desk. Okay. Oh, thanks, Petra. Yeah, holding on to 10%. Like, you never know. Look. This past week was a great example. Things just kept running, right? So, you got into a trade and it hit your 1.2, and you think, okay, it's going to pull back, right? Because 1.2 seems to be that magic number that we've been experiencing in the markets, right? You get into a trade, it goes to 1.2, and then it reverses. This week they just kept running. So if you got out of 90% of your trade at 1.2, held that other 10, you were making more money. So, I just look at that like, don't leave money on the table, right? So if there is an opportunity to hold 10%, which is not much, and make more money, go for it. But that doesn't mean that you don't use a trailing stop. I use a trailing stop when I do that. When I hold that 10%, I do use a trailing stop to make sure that I don't lose that full 10%. Kyle says, agree, that worked well for me on Amazon trade this week. Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. And Kyle was in one of my mentorship groups, and we talked about that. And so I'm glad, Kyle, that you're following that rule, because that's a nice way to make more money on something that instead of just exiting completely, right? Hang on to it, see what happens. All right, so Tesla. See, again, overhead resistance here. So this is going to be a battleground. Lucian says, well, I have something to add to my plan. Yep, absolutely. All right. So, and again, sorry for getting up on a soapbox there about the trading plan, but seriously, like, the first thing any trader should be doing is creating a plan. Because if you don't have a plan to follow, you're just, clicking buttons, and you're just going to lose money. So, all right, moving on. Done with that. Done preaching. Tesla, Amazon. And that's what, Kyle was just saying, like, on this day, right? Look at this day here. If you had gotten into Amazon, instead of getting out at 1.2, if you just held, like, you could have just rode that the whole rest of the day. All right, so Amazon, what are we looking at here? Okay, so pre-market action, we are within yesterday's range. We haven't broken yesterday's high yet with pre-market, although we are making a series of higher highs and higher lows. So Amazon could break higher. Now, right here, this is the weekly 200 right above here. Okay, so if Amazon gets up here, right, it breaks. You need to be aware of that. I have an alert to buy puts at the 200. Andrew says, yeah. So Dan Jansen in the house. So I would keep an eye on this 200, because a couple things, right? Obviously, it's a higher time frame moving average. The 200, it's a key level to watch. But also, if it gets up here and it hits that, it's also going to be making a double top, right? So you could just create a plan that says, hey, I'm going to short off that 200, and I might just do that today. If it gets into this area here, just look for a short, because that will be your double top, right? And then that's also a major moving average. So, and then if my thesis on the market for today is correct, that we might get an initial push up and then things will sell off because people are going to be looking to take profit into the weekend, then that just adds to my overall thesis for Amazon. I might look to go short here off this. And I'm just trying to think ahead, anticipate what could happen. AMD. All right. So AMD on the daily, so this red line and this one here, I just dropped in I can extend that over to the left. So I just dropped in some overhead resistance levels. So yesterday, that line was already there. right? So that just based on the daily, just some support resistance, and we got above it, we closed above it, but we are back down within yesterday's range here pre-market. So, but again, look here, right? So yes, we have a gap to fill here, but we have, if you look at AMD, and I forget which other one had the same look on the daily, maybe it was NVIDIA possibly, but if I'm right about this wave count, you have a 1, a 2, and a 3, right? Are we ready? And we're double topping here, right? So you have a double top. Are we then setting up to pull back today? And we're trading under yesterday's high. So it's possible that this could just be the beginning of the wave 4. And then wave 4 will chop around and pull back. Then wave 5 could close this gap, right? Now, could that gap get closed today? Of course, it could. I don't have a crystal ball, right? So at least not one that works. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, I am anticipating, I could be completely off base here, but I am anticipating that the market maybe trades up initially and then pulls back. All right, so AMD, again, trading within yesterday's range. So we'll have to wait for that to break above, or because it doesn't look like it's going to gap above yesterday's close. So we'll have to be patient with AMD. Delta. So not a whole lot here with Delta, a hammerish candle, but it's, Delta's not really doing a whole lot. So Delta didn't follow along with the rest of the market yesterday. It is trading within yesterday's range here. Not a lot with Delta that thrills me. I mean, in general, we all have our different sectors that we like or don't like, and airlines historically for me are ones that I don't really trade. Because I've just never traded them well. I don't know why, but anyway, airlines is not, that's not my favorite sector, but anyway, but looking at Delta, nothing here that is wowing me. So we'll keep an eye on Delta. Again, Apple I know is not on our 10 EMA list, but I do look at it anyway. So Apple, we are currently gapping up. So wait, no, I'm sorry, I lied. I didn't adjust my drawings here. All right, let's just do this real quick. So the high of this 155.57. Okay, low here 151.94. All right, so we are trading right at yesterday's high right now. Pre-market high is here. I do have that marked off. We do have, here is on the weekly, this is the weekly 50 right here. So we've got a couple of major moving averages overhead on Apple. But again, like everything else, look at this move that it made this week, right? So question here on Apple, right? If we do the wave count, 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's this 5, and now we're going to get that corrective retracement, right? So similar look, and then Kyle, back to look at Apple, look at this hammer, right? But again, it's at the top of the move, so it's a hanging man. Is that is that a sign that Apple's is gonna pull back? So could get a nice little initial push from Apple, maybe get up into this 50 and then pull back. So keep an eye on that. This red line here, again, which is also overhead, is support resistance. So I've got that. So we're trading right at that level right now, previous support resistance, and we're also battling yesterday's high. So let's see what else. We have a few more minutes here. I want to go look at, and we'll come back to a couple things, but I'm going to look at Roku real quick, because that is likely going to be my wild card here. So Roku, and it's interesting, I don't see a catalyst here. So yesterday, let's see, yesterday it was downgraded 293 from 100, but that was yesterday, and and it had a decent day. Got up into the highs here, got rejected. So, but now it's gapping down. So that is gonna, Roku would definitely be one of my, a wild card. I do like that, the fact that the market looks like it, it's not gapping down, but Roku is. So I will keep an eye on that. That will be one of my, yeah. So Kyle, yesterday they were downgraded, but that was yesterday. So they were downgraded from, it says price target was cut 293 from 100. But, but again, that was yesterday, right? So not sure why it's getting affected today and didn't adversely affect it yesterday, but today it's gapping down, but just popped, right? We just got to push up here. So maybe we won't even gap. Let's just see. I'm going to just quickly just scan, see if there's any other gaps that might be worth checking out. Again, what I'm looking for are gap and goes, right? So pins yesterday, bearish candle, so that's going to be retest gap. Even that's, and it's kind of too big of a gap for me to really look at right now. It's almost 8%. So again, my sweet spot is 2 to 7. 7 being the high end of that, and right now it's almost at 8. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, but let's just see what else we have. Yeah, MU was on there, so I was going to take a look at. Okay, beautiful. Look at that. Okay, so MU, right? So let's drop in some lines. Maybe MU ends up being. So what's the catalyst? Morgan Stanley downgrades MU to underweight. Price target of 56, right? So that was today. Morgan Stanley. Okay, so Micron and Western Digital drop. So it's kind of a sympathy play too. So Western Digital and Micron dropping because of Seagate earnings. So could be a nice gap. So let's drop some lines on here. Okay, 9:29, market's going to open. All right, let me just go ahead and stop this live stream real quick. Everybody on YouTube who's following along, be sure to subscribe to the Real Life Trading YouTube channel. If you are not currently a member of Real Life Trading, please come on over to reallifetrading.com. Love to have you. We have a great community here of traders, and we trade together every single day. Have a great weekend and